Oh boy. Oh, let's see. I'm live. Am I live? Well, let's see. Looks like I might have to change something here. Hmm. Right. Let's. Well, it should be coming through here, but I'm not sure. We're going to test that out in a bit. So it's going to be a light one. Hi, everybody. If anybody's with me, good morning. I have my tea with me right now, and I'm wondering if it's taking the audio as I would like it to. Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to actually let it record. And so, yeah. So I wanted to start doing some live sessions with you guys just to let you know, hey, well, here I am. I'm in the studio, in KVibe Studios, and I'm working on just touching base with everybody out there. Now that I have, you know, gotten my hands like nice and warmed up on, doing a podcast and things that I want to talk about, I really just want to check in with everybody and see how everybody's doing out there, what they have going on, and do you guys need any help with anything? We're living in a world of AI. We're living in a world where, we're not really confident of where our I guess our careers lie, where our ambitions are going, and whether it's worth creating the things that we create or maintain the jobs that we do, and the skills, are they actually worth anything anymore with such an influx of AI being integrated, confidence in other people trying to make these skill sets go away and managed by algorithms and computers and um, other people who are going to be pushing those initiatives forward. It can be scary, right? So, what do? Um, you keep yourself integrated. It's like anything else. You have to, the closer you are to your enemy, the better you know them. So I think being more hands-on, and if you're out there right now and you're trying to get ready to get in the mood for the day and get started and find some inspiration around what's keeping you going. I think it really just you really just have to kind of you know accept that it's going to be here and kind of at least understand how its usage is, because the more you know its flaws, the more you can defend and you can debate against what um, is it efficient or is it not efficient. In some cases, I can tell you from my own experience, it's not always efficient. Sometimes I was better off just going into it my own way through a mix of using small portions of AI, but the general um, project is mostly me because I need it turned around and I can't fiddle around for hours waiting for um, one, they say it's the prompting, right? So you have to put in time to learn the prompting, which takes a lot of time. And once you do, okay, fine, you have that. But these models are always being updated. So the prompts aren't always going to be the same. You're going to have to tweak it again. And you're not going to get the same results. And it is going to get better, and refinement's going to get better. But until then, there's a large and huge portion of time that is dedicated to just putting out one piece of of a project out. And and if it takes that long, it's not efficient. And I mean, you can argue that yeah, it does speed up the process of ideation. Well, yeah, because it's like, which I agree with, because if you have good starts, then you already know where to go from there. Especially if you have a lot of experience and knowledge in your field. Um, but yeah, so if you are going through something like that, let me know how you handle it and how you go about and start your day and figure out how you're gonna, take your course of action, or how you're going to move into the day and incorporate or not incorporate when you decide not to use AI. Um, the next thing that I probably, you know, I mean, I really want to talk about creativity. When are you most creative? Are you most creative at night or early morning? That's a big question, because sometimes not everybody has the same answer. And I personally like waking up every morning now and getting into things. I guess it's because of me now getting into podcasting um, and sharing my voice, but I also love being creative at night. I love to kind of, I play in that 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning part of the evening, the late hours, because I don't know, it's something about the evening that just sparks my it just sparks something inside of me. And I feel more relaxed. Um, and the juices just get flowing, and I just have a lot more ideas. I think more in the daytime, after I actually start getting ramped up, I get into after I have all my tasks outlined, I just get into work mode. And and sometimes you got to switch. You got to switch your left brain from your right brain and go from strategy to creativity. Sometimes they're one and the same, but I don't know. For me, it used to be majority nighttime, but now it's been kind of like leaning the other way now. So to the right, where I'm a little more motivated the earlier that I wake up, and it's just a different type of feeling. And sometimes I don't even feel like getting up in the morning. I just want to stay in bed and keep snoozing. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Now it's winter. Freaking the holidays already here. Like, what is going on? And I just finished, posting a new episode. Well, old episode, new episode, but still, um, you know, you get so wrapped up into the rat race of every day. It's hard to keep consistent and being, present to everyone. And that's like the chaotic world that we live in. All the things, and I'm not even talking about the stuff that happens every day to day that we see in the news and what we've been enduring for this past, um, hasn't even been a year, um, where there are major changes politically, and which I'm not going to go into, but everybody knows what it is and where we are at right now. So yeah, it's a you learn a lot, but it could be easily replaced tomorrow. The knowledge at the rate that we are learning has to be every day, and almost multiple times a day. You have to check in at this point. Um, but I also want to encourage us not to get discouraged by so much information that's out there. I now know how to filter some of that stuff now. So when new products things come out, like, oh, here's a new version of Sora, here's a new version of Gemini, here's a new version of all these other applications, ChatGPT, uh, Higgsfield, and Suno, and now all these things can do this. This new platform does this. This new social does that, and then you see all the creatives, all businesses, everyday people seeing disruption, and sometimes the disruption isn't true. It's They feel like it's already here to replace you. It will, if you're going in a mundane way of your approaching the way you do your workflow and your process. And it took me a little while because I myself was very stubborn to that. And now I find myself in a different space. One day, I can tell you this: the time that I've been kind of just not really doing the podcast and doing episodes, I really had time to really think about what it is that I wanted to do versus how to execute it. If that makes sense. What I'm trying to say is you have more time to ideate and think about things, about what strategies, what kind of ideas, concepts, problems that need to be fixed, versus being in the kitchen and being in the trenches and trying to fix those problems. Because when you're in the trenches, when you're in the kitchen and you're the one that's prepping and cooking, you don't see the wider picture, and you don't have enough time to use your imagination in that way, where you're not the one that needs to figure out how to do it. You're the one that has to figure out what the idea is that needs to be created with the vision that you have. And I think once you learn that that's actually what you need to do, is to have the vision. There's a lot of us, we don't make time to have a vision at all. We just go about our days just to make sure that we put food on the table, rent's paid, and our bosses are happy, right? And if you have kids, that kids are fed, they're doing well, they get to go to school, they're doing well in school, and then now the rest of it obviously is you just maintaining the status quo, right? But it's going to force you to really start stepping back and thinking bigger instead of just being part of the machine, which you are, we are, but at least it gives us a lot more leverage in innovation. So there are now programs that you can use. If you don't even know how to code, you can code. Well, you're not coding, the machine is coding, okay? Whether it's Gemini's doing it, Replit, whether it's any of these other programs that even freaking, you know, Claude, it does programming. Before I used to think it was just for writing, and you know about all these AI agents, but now you have different types of, I guess, subtask agents that are actually helping support a lot of these platforms. And if you get your hands on them, I'm telling you, the pieces, you have the tool, right? You have your wrench, you have your hammer. These are the things that you need to, you know, make yourself a shed or a patio, or, in the backyard. If you're going to make a tree house, you have the tools. But, if you step back and you think about, okay, what's this tree house going to look like? A lot of us don't. We're the type of people that wait to be told, this is what I envision the house, which is fine. But when you have machines that are going, or tools that are going to be created where the person that brought that idea to you now doesn't need to, that takes you out of the equation. Now you don't have a business model where people go to you because they needed their treehouse built, or they need sheds built in their backyard, or they need anything built, because they could just call on to an action, and it does it themselves. Or maybe, there's an efficient way to get it done now. It's cheaper. They don't have to pay you so much. They don't have to pay you to do any of these things. So, but before it gets there, you have to kind of understand, like, okay, where do you draw the line? Instead of like fighting it, you have to figure out, and that's one of my own struggles. Keep your humanity, keep the skill set that you have, because your skill set is really the knowledge and the human touch that you put within anything you do, whether you're in corporate America, whether you're, just doing it day to day, working a 9 to 5 job, customer service, whether you're engaged doing a project for creative for an agency and advertising and all that stuff, whether you're taking care of, elderly hospitals, there's a human touch that needs to and is always appreciated. And a lot of people argue that, like, oh, that's going to go away too, but it could, it could. But that's why we have to remember to retain our humanity and really think about being good to each other and being resourceful and helpful to one another, right? So, because if we lose our humanity or we become bitter too much, and it's not because I'm drinking this that I brought up the word bitter, but I will say that I think we need to find a good way to balance this craziness of what we feel our insecurity against AI and what's happening around the world, and really reset our minds to find some peace and be able to share that with one another, and how we approach that, and how we we resonate. We just have to be nice to each other. And then if we figure out how to live in this society with one another, because right now we're complaining about AI and everything that's happening around the world and all these things and all these atrocities. But if things aren't good at home, what does it matter? If things are not good within your own neighborhood, your own scope, your own job, then yeah, eventually if we keep at each other and we are not happy as a society, we're gonna end up developing, yeah, these humanoid robots. And you know what? They might be nicer than us because sometimes we could be, quite frankly, assholes, right? So, very selfish people, and but that's part of it. I mean, we have to remember we're we're a primitive group. Humans are not meant for certain things, and I think that we evolved, but there's still primal, there's still primal instinct to defend, right? And to fight off, whether it's your body's fighting off an infection, whether it's fight or flight and your defensive modes, your killer instinct is always going to come in. You're defending your family against harm. You're defending yourself against harm. But sometimes it might be a little much to over focus on certain things because we need to kind of reset ourselves so that we remember that we are supposed to be um, good to one another and caring individuals. We want a better world, but we have to be the ones to facilitate it, right? So anyway, I don't want to get too preachy. It is the morning. You have a goal. There's something you're doing out there that's keeping you inspired. Something in your life is definitely keeping you inspired. I would definitely share it with me because I know we all have our times where we don't feel like, yeah, today ain't the day. Or we might just not be motivated to just, or stuff's happening. Maybe the weight of the world is on you. What is it that motivates you to keep going, right? Just share that with me and we can discuss that. And, but aside from that, I always, I know I like to talk creative a lot, but I think the reason why I talk about creative and because it's part of all our lives and it's what inspires us. We tell stories in so many different ways. We share just like the cavemen did when they wrote in the walls of the caves and hieroglyphics, the Egyptians and all the literature that's been written through history. And it's just fascinating to know that we are still all here, that we have not wiped ourselves off the planet. And, everybody's got their own theories around that kind of thing. But, be grateful that you're alive and your life expectancy is a lot larger than it used to be back in the day. It's not like medieval times, you know. um, and you don't have any wild creatures trying to hunt you down and eat you every day, and you have to figure out how to source for food. I think we're, a very privileged, society when it comes to that kind of stuff. And some other places are not. Some places they're suffering right now. And it's just a reminder to, to be grateful for what we have and to think about those don't, right? And defend those that need the help, right? And when creative and what inspires the creative is life, man. So life is the source of your inspiration. Whatever's in it, whatever's going on with you right now, whoever's in your life that is making you want to write a book, want to start a business, to take, you want that person in your life to feel special, so you could do things and build a future, or you're just like inspired to tell other people your experiences so that those things don't get repeated. Um, that's why we make so many movies, right? So many books and make so much art. And it's just a beautiful thing. So anyway, enough of that. This is my first live session. Obviously, nobody's chimed in. Maybe it's too early. But anyway, definitely chat with me, follow, like, subscribe. I'll do another live session maybe after the holidays. Well, we got Thanksgiving coming up. I can't even. Blah, blah, blah. We have Thanksgiving coming up, so for those of you who have families, those of you who don't, guys, whatever it is that you're doing on Thanksgiving, I hope you're around amongst friends and loved ones, and I hope you have a great one. Until I see you again, stay inspired and just keep creating, man. Peace. Now I have to do this walk so I can turn that on. Hello.